got my clacker at home.
Okay.
Okay. Hello. What's your name?
Susan Sneath. I'm from Edmonton in Alberta here. I'm originally from Regina, Saskatchewan, the land of flat.
The land of flat.
Yeah.
Yes, the place where you can see your dog run away for 3 days.
Yes, and we watch them.
Okay, yes. That's fairly southern, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Saskatoon, and then some of those gets more northern. Yorkton is up north.
Yorkton's, Regina's closer to Moose Jaw.
Yes, I lived in Weyburn for 6 or 7 months. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the name of the play?
Shawnachie. I know, we get to talk to the playwright, Gavin Bradley. How do you say this? Because honestly, there are letters that are not pronounced in the Gaelic alphabet. It's like they don't exactly want the English to know how to say it. But we do. So Shawnachie. Siobhan. Well, a Shawnachie is an oral storyteller, and they're the ones who would be working in Ireland, and they'd be working with a particular community and bringing the stories that are saved from generation to generation and giving them like lifeblood to the community. So Siobhan has been doing this for 50 years. Excellent. And then her daughter falls in love with a Canadian. Honestly, seriously, and moves over here to this bloody freezing place. And so Siobhan brings her stories with her. And now, when we meet her, she's not being used as a Shawnachie anymore. She's in an old folks' home. And that's where the story starts.
And I found it very interesting. You said she's not being used anymore. Her stories are not being told, or she's not allowed, or not able, or no one to talk to.
There you go. There's no one who needs. You see, stories start by listening. And then you use them. That's the freaking point. And there's no one who needs to hear those stories. So there's nobody needing her. I live by this saying, the stories we tell are how we live our lives. When we're in the middle of change, which hardly anybody likes except maybe a wet baby, and even they're not thrilled, we have to change the stories we tell, the stories we live. So adults, youth, old folks, we all need to be encouraged to find the stories we have lived. And many folks, I work also in employment search field. And I have to say to the people, tell me a story of what you've done. Tell me a story about how you found your power, what you loved to do. Because people, any age, Mike, any age, I do a task, I go on to the next. And then we have the effect of social media. Pushing. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is a bite. That's a bite. This is a flash. That's a flash. You talked about the dopamine hit. Yeah. What's the reward? You know, Mike, I'm going to be candid with you. Every single generation has its downside, and I was freaking bored. I was bored. I was from Saskatchewan, where there was one theater, if you were lucky, and the actors who came to town said, we're in this place. It doesn't match up to Toronto or to London. So for me, I've always been involved in the new play. I'm one of the inventors of the Fringe. I was in the Fringe pregnant with my daughter.
Oh, wow.
So I've been committed to what would the playwrights say if they could speak of this time, of this place. I'm also against restrictions by age. I have extraordinary grandchildren and friendships with them, 17 down to 4. Okay? And each one of them tells a story. Each one of them, my oldest granddaughter's head of her student council, getting connected with people using the social media I called TikTok, Tic-Tac. And they still torment me over it. Okay, so I have been technologically declined. And all of us, when they say it's the young people going on to the cell phone, I've been addicted to where's my hit? Where am I going to grab? And I personally don't watch TV anymore, but every now and then to just kind of relax, I will go and watch some videos on Facebook for a little bit of a hit. Okay. So I think many of us need to figure out what is the story we want to tell. What is the story with enough edge to it that could tell the story of now, that we can hold space for the changes that are coming? Two things. I believe it is a quest to be an artist and to be an artist of life. I have had different people who want to be artists say, but I can't take another kind of job because it'll rob me of my art. And I say the people that you will be doing your art for want to find out what you've been living. Okay. And then you have to devote yourself to the stories you want to tell. I've spent a long time, I worked full-time for about 14 years in theater, and then I took a break. And I said, I want to put the words I want to have in my mind. And so I would do that. And then I started getting work as a storyteller, as a motivational speaker, as a whatever. And then I would be telling people some of these things. And I'd say, what would happen if we did it? She actually lived these stories. And I had all kinds of adventures and misadventures all across the country. Fair enough. Then I connected along the way with community. And so the community I connected with is, one of them was a transformation of 118 Avenue in Edmonton, which has been very, very rough place, very hard place. And as different artists that I knew would be doing things and saying, would you come by and play with us over here, Susan, or do this? I'd have mothers saying to me, you know, my kids can now play in the park without being mugged or having someone shoot them up with drugs and such. So I don't step away from that. So then I got an invitation, you could say by chance, but when I tracked it a couple of years ago, back to 2023, 2 years before that, I had been invited by a poet friend of mine to give voice to her poetry in a festival called Myths, New Myths. And so we did that, and I was reminded how much I love theater. I ended up doing a international TV podcast for 2 years. After that, every week, we would meet other people in the middle of change. Fair enough. Then 2023, I also was invited by Amanda Samuelson, out of the blue, so to speak. Would you come and have a look at this play? I said, I've just gotten back from Haida Gwaii, which is farthest western edge of Canada you can get. I said, I'll have a look at it. And I thought to myself, I wonder what could tempt me. I read the play. I emailed her. I printed out a copy. I was at first rehearsal, all within 2 hours. It captured. I'm used to new plays, Mike.
Okay.
Gavin writes with a silver thread. I'm okay with drafts of plays. I wasn't with the play in its earlier workshop, fair enough. But he understands how to bring the true humor, faculty perception, and the true unfathomable depth, and then humor and depth. And I thought, that I will put into my mind stream, and I've never regretted it. Here we are 2 years later. Well, they did a workshop first, and then they did a first run of it in July as part of a New Mythic Works Festival in July of 2023. And so they said, or 2020, it was 2024.
Okay.
So 2024, so it was a year ago. And they said, would you be part of that? And I went, sure. And that's where I met Mark and Gavin. We did that, and then we were invited to be part of Stage Struck, which was eventually in April, I met you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that would have been at the ADFA One Act Festival.
You got it.
Yes.
Right? And Gavin, another chunk to the play, and I kind of liked the first chunk. I thought, gee, because I'm a comedian too, I like it ended with a laugh. And I said, I felt like we got away with something. It's an Irish story, they're always sad. And he brought a depth that I had to surrender to. I went, okay, yeah. Because you saw the play.
Yes.
You can see it. It takes you everywhere you need to go and further. So yeah. And humor, it's also something I specialize in, which is a healing power of humor. I've used it in many places. So the essence of humor is faculty of perception.
Yeah.
And it's a quick flip. So a whole lot of the laughs that come in the show are not because actually something is ha 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 funny. It's because of the quick flip and the psyche goes, I get it. And it's a release. And then you can go deeper. Very satisfying to be part of. Basically, my grandma, her dad was Irish. However, it was not celebrated in my family. We never brought out green teacups on St. Patrick's Day. He had been Irish that had not, he was drunk. And she was embarrassed of him. So I never heard about that. But I knew she had a little bit of Irish. I've got a little bit of Scottish, a little bit of English, a little bit of German, a little bit of French, maybe some Spanish from some sailor landed on the shores. Who knows? Well, number one, Gavin wrote it in the rhythm. So the director said, you don't have to do the accent if you don't want to. It's more important to get the words across. And I said, excellent. So that's nice. We got Gavin to coach us on how to say the words. And then I said, this is part of what you do as an actor. You take a risk of looking really bad in front of your stage management and other cast. I thought, what have I got to lose, honestly? And so I just dove in and I just played with it. And then... and I had my granddaughter who loves languages said, you just go diddly 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 dee. And I thought, honestly, okay. I played with it. And then when Gavin saw it in July of 2024, he said, yeah, that was fair enough. Because you always want people to hear you. It's no fun doing a perfect accent if people can't understand you. Commitment is to the audience. So we got away with it, that one. And then when we rehearsed it for Stage Struck, Gavin was right with us. And then I could go much farther. And as you said, I passed.
Oh, it was more than a pass for me. But that is the danger of an accent. I love doing accents. I tend to fall into stereotypes until I get a role that requires one. And then I start dissecting it and breaking it down and that sort of thing. I've been to many a play. A very good friend of mine, Alexa, she's actually French. She lives in the French Quarter here in Edmonton. English is her second language. And she did a play for us, Evelyn Strange. I wanted that European exotic nature. So I said, use your accent, let it fly. And then after, I had 3 or 4 people complain that French accent was terrible.
Hilarious.
So, it's one of those things, even a good accent, because I'm sure there's 100 different dialects of Irish that can mess up with the audience. So we live in a world of perception, right? Especially on stage. Yeah. What is right isn't necessarily perceived right. So as actors or directors, we have to make that choice of how we want it perceived. Do we want authentic, historical accuracy, or do we want it perceived in that emotion? We cheat all the time as actors.
Storytelling,
yeah.
To serve the story.
Is there anything else you want to tell? And we'll see you back here later.
I just have to say again and again what an honor it is to do this piece and then to work with Mark. Honestly, seriously, what an absolute joy. And then I'll never regret saying yes and yes again. So thank you for this invitation, Mike. Absolute treat.
Well, thank you. Let's hope we can get some tickets sold in Camrose.
Yes.
You got it.